In Ben 10 Omniverse, we see Grandpa Max catch a Magikarp and a Gyarados, and my god, does that give me so many questions about the Ben 10 universe, the Pokemon universe. Let's try to make sense of this, because this is the crossover that, frankly, I never knew I needed, but it's here now, and I have it, and I feel like I gotta do something with it. So, the question is, does Pokemon and Ben 10 exist in the same universe? And then also, does this confirm a really long theory that's been had in the Pokemon community that Pokemon are actually aliens? So, you see, in the Pokemon world, there's a lot of stuff that kind of makes people suspicious that all Pokemon are aliens. First off, the fact that pretty much anytime there's any kind of gimmick that changes a Pokemon, Mega Evolution, Dynamax, Z crystals, it is usually tied to aliens or outer space at least. And so that's kind of sketchy. You know that there are some Pokemon that are indeed from outer space, like Deoxys, Lunatone, Solrock, Clefairy, etc., etc. And then there is the fact that animals seem to kind of maybe exist in the Pokemon world. Because, like, think about it. If they're like, oh, this is the elephant Pokemon. Well, that's weird. How do you know what an elephant is if elephants don't exist and instead there's just Copperages, Donphans, Great Tusks, and Iron Treads? How do you know what an elephant is? You know, then likewise in the anime, we actually see some fish. Not fish Pokemon. I'm not saying we see Magikarps and Luminions and stuff like that. No, we see fish. We see fish. There's fish. What does that mean? So, the theory is that perhaps at some point, Pokemon kind of came to Earth and, like, gradually took over everything. Or it even could be a virus, kind of like how Deoxys is an alien virus. And these just kind of took over elephants and made them have special properties and basically turned an elephant into Donphan over time. It's a long theory. It's never been one I truly believe in. But the Ben 10 thing gets really interesting because when Grandpa Max catches this Magikarp and Gyarados, he is in a location called Undertown. Undertown, for those who are not familiar with the Ben 10 Omniverse series, is a subterranean, underground city where aliens from all around the galaxy will, live and do business and all these things. So the fact that Magikarp and Gyarados were found in a city inhabited solely by aliens makes you go, well, maybe Magikarp and Gyarados are aliens, or maybe even Magikarp and Gyarados were brought by an alien to this world. So that could then mean that Magikarp and Gyarados are alien Pokemon, like Clefairy, like Deoxys, like Minior, etc., etc. And now, see, the Magikarp and Gyarados thing, if we go by Ben 10 rules, is actually not that weird. You see, Gyarados is a dragon Pokemon. You might be going, no, he's not, he's water flying. And yes, I know that he's a water flying type, but he is a dragon. We actually get confirmation of this in the Pokemon world that Lance kind of basically confirms there is a distinguish between dragons and dragon types. This also can be seen in egg groups. There is a dragon egg group, and there are Pokemon that are in the dragon egg group that are not necessarily of the dragon type. So, Pokemon like Charizard, Aerodactyl, Gyarados that seem to have dragon-like attributes and are even used by dragon trainers like Lance are not dragon type, but are dragons. So Gyarados is exactly this. In fact, the whole basis of the Magikarp line is that when Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, it's a koi fish becoming a dragon. What's up with that? It's basically based off of this old, either Chinese or Japanese, I'm sorry, I don't remember which one, but a proverb about, like, basically koi fish will try to, or carp will try to jump over this waterfall, and I can't remember if it's koi fish or carp, again, forgive me, but the ones that manage to jump over the waterfall will become a dragon. This is even kind of referencing some stuff like how Gyarados is flying around a waterfall in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, how does that mean anything? Gyarados is a dragon, that means it's an alien? This is dumb, Lumi. Hear me out. In Ben 10, there are dragons, and all of those dragons are actually aliens. So, dragons canonically exist in Ben 10, but they're all aliens. So, likewise, here's a dragon, Gyarados, that exists in Ben 10. Now, we have to live with that. It does. It's there. Here it is. Look, it's there. And it's a dragon in an alien city. All the other dragons in Ben 10 are aliens. So, Gyarados is an alien. That's what I'd say. I think that's reasonable to believe. Or there are two other possibilities for why Gyarados is here. So first off, in this series, Ben 10 Omniverse, there was basically an episode where there's this device called the Annihilarg, and in it, it's like the Annihilarg can destroy the whole universe. And it actually does in one episode. They drop it and it destroys the whole universe, but Ben manages to transform into Alien X, which is this, like, basically God, honestly. And he rewrites the universe as he remembers it. Now, look, this is a 16-year-old who is rewriting the universe as he remembers it. I don't know about y'all, but when I was 16, if I got to rewrite the universe, I would totally throw a Pokemon in there. I'd be like, yeah, there were squirrels and dogs and Pikachus. I mean, I would totally do that. So there is a chance that just Ben 10 made Pokemon exist in his universe. His universe is more like us than it is the Pokemon universe, where he grew up watching Pokemon. He watched Ash Ketchum's journey, and he's rewriting the universe. He was like, let's throw in some Pokemon into this. And that's what happened. I actually really like the idea of that because, again, that's like such a 16-year-old thing to do. And if you watch Ben 10, that's such a Ben thing to do. But yeah, that's right. Or there is also the fact that Pokemon and Ben 10 could not share a universe together, but could instead share a multiverse. The whole saga of Ben 10, this whole series, Ben 10 Omniverse, was in fact about the multiverse. That's kind of where Omniverse is coming from. Kind of like Spider-Verse, you know, it's the Spider-Man multiverse. The Omniverse is like the Omnitrix multiverse. You see several different Ben variants and Gwen variants and all these different variants. And it's just a super multiverse of an adventure, I guess. So it is possible that maybe in one of these several multiverse hopping things, just like how some Bens get brought to our main Ben's timeline, our main Ben's universe, there could be, you know, in one of these little multiversal mishaps, a Gyarados is grabbed out of the Pokemon timeline and plopped right into the Ben 10 timeline. That is totally possible. If this Gyarados, you know, was, say, with child, then that explains why there's a Magikarp too. Adding to this, we also know that Pokemon has been kind of getting into the multiversal stuff as well. They've always kind of hinted at it a little bit, but they went full-blown with it in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and Sun and Moon and all, and if I'm not mistaken, that's around the same time Omniverse is going on. That's kind of when we start hitting this multiversal phase that we're in now. I don't know if y'all picked up on that, but like, the multiverse is everywhere now, right? Like, they were touching it with the CW DC shows. They were touching it with Ben 10, Pokemon, Marvel's now getting into it as well. The DC movies have gotten into it, which that's always been constant in the comics, but that's just, people have really liked these whole variants and multiversal stuff, and there's been more of that. So maybe this is what's happening here. It's just a multiversal mishap, and Gyarados and Magikarp are in there. Personally, again, my headcanon, though, is going to be that Ben definitely recreated the universe and was like, let's throw in a few things from my childhood in there. I think that's fantastic. I would have thought he'd throw in Sumo Slammers, but no, he chose Pokemon, and I got mad respect for him for that. Yeah, April Fools. This was just a cute cameo done by Cartoon Network, but I thought it'd be fun to do something special for April Fools. I like to do special things for April Fools. It's such an underrated holiday. So I wanted to touch on this and talk about how this could be possible. It's a fun thought, right? I mean, yeah, April Fools, guys. Ben 10 and Pokemon never had a crossover, really. It was just a little Easter egg. My channel's going downhill. Have a great April, everyone.